in detail to the recommendations. But the Department of the Premier must also, because they are the ones who made recommendations, which is not obviously in line with the SIU's recommendations, not that we want to hear why. So I think if those two sessions can happen, and then the other one, the information which the MEC did agree to providing, but in writing, the information around the spending on the Wesley Newman matter, not necessarily the case, because the case we've asked for a written reply, we've received a written response to the question, but the other costs around the support given to the school, the law enforcement, we need that breakdown on those matters. Thank you.
Take note of that. Next, Honorable Ngondo, then it will be Honorable Van der Versteysen.
Chair,
Yes,
I'm
yes,
holding
Honorable.
back, Chair.
Please go ahead.
No, I know we operate in a very certain way in scope. So I'm just going to leave it for you to take executive decision with some of the resolutions, because what member is saying, we already talked that let's get the ICU report and see what is there before SIU report before we can say what's next that is going to happen. So we cannot double adopt. Double deep into it. So we take decision based on what is in front of us. So the same applies with some other things that we have a system that we operate in scope to have a reason, the foundation, we let info, then the info guides us for the engagement of what road are we going to take in interrogating that information to get clarity on some of the issues. So I'm not against, but the process is how we have to do it the way it will be conducive to us to get the information. Thank you, Chair.
Take note of that. I will summarize on the way forward. Okay. Honorable Ngondo.
Thank you, Chair. I would be interested in requesting information from the department on their overpayments, salary overpayments. I think they made mention that they do have a system, and I'm sure through the system they can then indicate to us with this, the reporting financial year that we're dealing with, but maybe just going back so that we understand the extent of this problem, what causes it, because actually when I think one of the senior officials was explaining, for me, I had a sense that there seems to be sort of a policy or legislative overlap, which one needs to understand, because he was speaking about the labor relations requirements versus which in a way ends up causing these salary overpayments. So we need to understand that and be able then perhaps at a later stage with information on our disposal, be able to engage perhaps what DPSA policies are saying in creating such a problem, which is something that I think we debated with the Premier's office. Also, I would be interested in that regard on the cases that they had to even trace employees, because he said they also have got a debt collection a sort of function based on this. That's one. The second one, Chair, is that in the issue of this IT Imobi system, I think the HOD for me was very political in answering than providing me, an administrative answer. Because my interest was to understand now that they've got a system that they're talking about, which is in place, which supposedly, according to what they have in the book, says it needs to require or help parents, and learners to sort of upload information. At this point, with the number of learners in schools that they have, which are those that have got IT accessibility? So for me, I'm sure if they've got 30,000 schools, they would know at this point, since he says that they've got Wi-Fi here and there and there. So I'm interested in the percentage of the schools that have such and where there is not. And where there is not, what then becomes the intervention for those schools that are still struggling. The last one, Chair, is that I would be interested to get, because you see this response of BE certificate, it changes from one department to the other. I'm interested in what the lady responded to about a letter of the AG of National Treasury, actually, if they can furnish us with that particular letter. Because according to her, she said, I think there were changes or such requirement was removed. I'm not sure what that means. If that letter can be furnished to us. Yeah, and lastly, perhaps in these engagements that we're talking about, we may need, I'm always interested on this thing of target setting, versus indicators. The minister, including the HOD, he said part of this journey of theirs, I think they are focusing on this. Maybe at some point we may invite them or the chair and the committee coordinator can advise the best way, because I'm very much interested on this managing of target setting, indicators, and what we end up having as a challenge of performance information. So if it's something that they're working on, clearly they would have identified what would have been a problem. Maybe before we even go to the annual plans, I would be interested whether we sample this particular department and any other, just to understand that kind of an ecosystem and how it works, so that both factor when we do annual reports, we've got a better appreciation, especially on performance on the PDOs. Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Nkondlo. Honorable van der Westhuizen? No, not fine. We must really try and round up now. Now, I think, honorable members, part of the reason I want to reiterate we took so long on this department because of the nature of the report. It's and obviously we are trying to also not only to hold them to account, but also to assist them to achieve the desired outcome at the end of the day, that is clean audit. I think that's all that we also want to. Now, normally the way, of course, I know that at some point we are going to sit again and relook at all these resolutions that we are taking at the end, and we'll say normally we want information on this one, they can come and appear in person, or no, these ones we want them to give us a report in writing. They don't necessarily have to come. But I think for now it's good that we've requested information basically from every entity that was mentioned here. We will get a report on, we wanted the report on the nutrition, the report on the SIU. Now, for some reason, the AG was very interested when you talk about target setting. You could see the way they responded. I think we will request that information, but also on the issue of the AG and the department. To me, what is key is what the department, their proposal as to how do we resolve this matter, and also the AG, how do we resolve this matter? Those are the people that I think we must bring together under one roof. They tell us, we think this is how we can resolve this matter. But also, I like your issue you raised, Honorable Maseko, of even the audit committee as well. They must substantiate what were they actually meaning. Yes, there might be things, and it will be for the first time that we also begin to engage them as well, because most of the time the audit committee will just come and sit and watch us, but we are beginning to engage now as well. Please be active participant on this team. You must not be just bystanders. We would like to get a response from them as well. Honorable Partner.
Chair, just on the progress on the one indicator that we mentioned. So they've indicated to us, obviously, these are the steps we're putting in place. And the recommendation to us was we recommend the portfolio committee can monitor the progress on the indicator, because the progress on the indicator hasn't started yet. So what one would say then, so my previous recommendation in the resolutions was recommend that the education SC monitors the progress on the indicator quarterly basis. So it's basically my resolution was let's accept the recommendation that they gave us. But if we're going to be doing two things, I'm just concerned that two committees are going to be sitting on the exact same thing, and we're going to basically using the department and the audit committee and the AG's resources to be in two different committees at the same time. And
So,
you know what I mean? It's like
okay, what's
if you're asking
wrong?
two
What's wrong with a joint? Then?
we can do joint, but I'm just cautious that we're not duplicating work basically, and as a parliament.
That is now on the recommendation. On which recommendation are you talking on?
So, the audit committee.
Yes.
I don't remember the lady's name. She was wearing orange.
Yes.
She recommended that the education committee monitors the progress on the indicator on a quarterly basis, because what they said is these are the steps now that we've implemented. Mr. Eli spoke about.
I don't think, is there anybody who's got a problem with that recommendation?
I don't have a problem with it. I think what we are saying we are concentrating on the audit report that we received now, not the way forward. We want to know from them why are they doubting progress of the department? Yeah. And what you are saying is you want to see the progress as we move on. But that is why Chair was indicating that always we want to see the progress. So if we got a report that now there's no hope about the progress, we want to go to the core of the problem of why do you have doubts while you have responsibility to assist the department in making sure that they clean audit. So it's totally different. The standing committee can do
leadership.
Yes. Okay.
Leadership. Though I can see that Honorable Maseko is standing his ground as an audit, as a SCOPA member, that the audit committee is her partner in the field of auditing, and then. So I think that's fine. Then on the issue of they can deal with the issue of the Department of and the Committee on Education, but on our side, we would like them to also respond to us as to whether while they have this responsibility of auditing, why are they in doubt? They might have. Yes. No, I think you've recorded that quite very well.
That being said, Chair, your last word.
Maybe I missed what have you concluded with regards to the SI?
We request a report.
And they after decide on the way
yes.
forward.
So the SIU report, you are only requesting a report.
Yes.
Step one.
You're not asking for a meeting with the Premier, with the Department of the Premier to take us through the report.
How we normally do at SCOPA is that our resolutions, they are getting sent to those people, or we take a resolution, but at the end, when we finish with all the department, will sit again and we say, look, these are the resolution we've taken. Are there any amendments we want to make? Are there anyone you want to call? Are there anyone you want to give reports? For now, we're just resolving that we want reports on the SIU matter from the SIU this time, not from the Auditor General or from the department. The SIU itself must give us a report on that matter. Then we'll look at it. When we sit with all the reports, we'll say, no, they must give us a report, or we'll decide, or we will actually invite them.
Explain is that because SCOPA is not, it doesn't have the allocated standard time on the programming authority. So we get the report, then we go with how can we go about in the engagement and having to slot in the program to attend to the issues. So it's important that we know that what is going to be for us to call which departments and how can we go about, because per year we have very minimum days that it's for us to deal with the annual reports. Other than that is the prescribed dates like your annual reports that we have to deal with the issues. So that is why it's important that we deal with it in that way.
What is your concern, Honorable Member?
Chair, no, my concern is that we are now, because what I requested is that we ask that, we know what's in the SIU report, but it's fine, ask the
I don't
SIU.
know.
But that's fine. The SIU report was shared, but it's fine. You asked for that. But what I've requested is that we need the report from the Department of the Premier, because it's the Department of the Premier who is the one. The SIU recommendations were sent there by WCD, and they have concluded something differently to what the SIU concludes in terms of the disciplinary action. The SIU recommended 3 officials must be disciplined. The Premier's
are you
department
basing
is
your
recommending
request?
that only 1 must be disciplined through a written warning and the 2 mustn't be disciplined. That is why I'm requesting that we also get that SCOPA requests. I initially requested that SCOPA must actually call the Department of the Premier, but I understand that that does not, the sentiment doesn't seem to be in that direction right now. Then if you're going the route of documents, then perhaps they should be sending also a document as to how they came to that conclusion.
Ask for both.
Yeah, we have
Ask
both.
for
Yeah.
both.
Yeah.
Both is fine. Yeah.
No,
Then
Chair,
you can
that
look
is
at
not
both,
going
yeah.
to where we base everything on what came to us. The annual report came in front of us. We heard about the SIU. What is in there? We don't know. It might be they know. We don't know. Let's get the SIU report as the standing committee, look there and get all the information. If we have to call Premier's report and Premier and that, we will do that. But the step number 1 for us is to get the SIU report, and then from there, we are not shying away of taking that responsibility of everything. But what we are saying is step number 1, we are not going to overpopulate with what we don't know. We want to know like they do know. And step number 1 is to get that information for us to know. We are not going to take responsibility of saying we know 1, 2, 3, 4 while we don't know it. That's all that I'm saying, that let's deal with the issue that is in front of us and do it accordingly so that we don't fall into the past that we did things without having all the information. And after, then when we ask ourselves, then what? Okay. We get the legal opinion of saying
I hear you, Honorable
there's
Member,
nothing you can
Honorable
do.
Khalid, without, let me just avoid the dialogue between the two of you. Before you, let me give Honorable Nkondo, then I'll come to you.
Chair, the matter of SIU was discussed here in our SCOPA meeting. And it was raised here in our SCOPA
by the
meeting.
department, basically.
By the department. So I would think, I don't see anything wrong for us to ask that SIU report, but also to ask the Premier's office. For me, I don't see anything
both,
wrong.
like Honorable
it's not
Batman
like
was
this
saying.
thing is still at a stage where it has not already been handed over. So we may go the route of Member Maseko, which is more for me just instilling a bureaucratic process to say, let me get this one, I'm still going to get that one. Because where we are as one government, the report has already been served to the department and also to the Department of the Premier for actioning. So the matter, when it was discussed here, it was not discussed as a matter that is still the SIU to conclude. So that is why, for me, I don't see these two processes actually conflicting with each other. Either we just ask both that the department, the SIU, including the department, to provide us that particular report so that we then engage with the reports ourselves, and then we make a determination of what we want to do with both of those reports, both from the SIU and from the Department of the Premier. Thanks.
I think can we settle for that? We'll get the report for both then. There's nothing wrong with that because the department raised that they did prepare a report, the SIU, but at the end of the day is the Premier. So we'll get the report from both the SIU and the Premier. I want you to finalize.
Chair, no, it's a pity that, okay, Honorable Maseko is back. I was not saying, and let it be clear, I was not saying the department, that the committee must not ask for the SIU report. I'm aligned with what Member Nkondlo is saying. The SIU report, yes, must be there, but that report from the Department of the Premier. So I'm in agreement with that. Thank you.
We'll get both reports.
Let's get both reports.
Okay.
Thanks.
Honorable members, Let me make use of the opportunity to thank you very much for your time. As I said, that it has taken an extraordinary long. Let's hope it's going to be one of the last committees that has taken us so long, but we understand why it has taken so long because of the nature of the report that was supported, that was brought in front of us. Once again, let me make use of this opportunity to thank you for your patience and also for your understanding during the meeting. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, honorable members. Now,